university and research and what a PPP a project is, and then we will move over to the content of the project. So both Max Hans and myself, we work at Wageningen Food and Bio-based Research, which is part under the umbrella of Wageningen University and Research. And together with close to 300 colleagues, we work in the area of food and bio-based products. And we do that also in close link with the university groups within Wageningen. And the type of projects that are options to collaborate with us are the three depicted here. So it can be in a bilateral modus, but also grant-based options, like for instance EU projects. But today we are here for the third option, which is a public-private partnership, and these are projects that are typically financed for 50% by the subsidy provider, and have a mid-long-term duration of up to 4 years. And I will, in the next few slides, will tell you a little bit more. For the complementary project, we are currently in the process of setting up a consortium, and we are in particular open to companies or partners that are interested in using, or that use packaging, or interested in using more sustainable packaging. So it could be manufacturers also of packaging solutions, but also the ingredient providers and providers of processing technologies. And I think most of these areas we have now here in this meeting, so that's very nice. Just some general information on TKI projects. So TKI is the subsidy provider. It will grant, if we get the project granted, it will finance 50% of the project, so meaning that the remaining 50% comes from the industry partners in the projects. This can be fully in cash, but can also be partly in kind, up to up to the half of the industry contribution. And for complementary, we foresee a project duration of 3 years, and we aim for a budget in the range of 1 to 1.5 million euro. And that means that depending on the amount of partners that we will have, and the amount of how broad the amount of products we can handle in the project, that will determine the partner contribution. But if we have to give you some ballpark figures, it will be in the range of 20 to 50K per year per partner. And in this type of projects, partners will team up with us, and we will co-develop at this stage that we're in also the project. So we very much appreciate also to do that together with the partners, and to scope the content of the projects, and to give a direction. And also during the project, when the project is running, there will also be a project steering committee formed. And also in this stage of the project, there is still the possibility to steer and to decide on the directions of the project. And with regard to the outcome of the project, all partners receive an immediate right to apply the non-protectable foreground in their field of application. This will be decided, or this will be, how do you say that? This will be determined in the consortium agreement for each partner the field of application. And for the protected IP, there is the first right also to license any protected IP in the project. And any more detailed questions you may have, or about the consortium agreement and so on, Dennis, our colleague Dennis Schooman, is very willing to explain more and can help you with that. Something about the timelines, and also when do we need commitment of partners. So we are now currently in the process of recruitment and setting up the consortium, and also further defining the project content. And for us, this type of meetings is also very valuable to learn what are the specific research questions that you have and what would make the project interesting to you. So we very much welcome your input on this. Then by the end of June, we will have a go, no-go decision based on the number of partners that we find that are interested, that are willing to give a soft commitment to continue with the project. And also we will ask you to fill in the interested partners to provide us with information about your specific interest. And we use that to write over the summer period a full proposal for submission to the TKI agency. At this stage, we ask you a little bit more firm commitment, but not yet legally binding. And if we get the project granted in October, we expect this notification, then there will be the contracting process will start. And at this stage, we ask you for a legally binding commitment. So we had the signing of the consortium agreement. And if we have finished this part, then the actual project is expected to start somewhere around April next year with a project kickoff. So this is a little bit about the process of this for this project idea. We will now move on to the content, and Maxence will guide you through the first slides of this presentation.
Thank you, Masha. So we all know that we need to use more sustainable packaging. Unfortunately, what is nowadays available on the market, often these solutions are not good enough and doesn't fit actually the needs of the products. So we came with the idea to compensate this lack of properties by combining actually with natural ingredient or other technology. So in this way, we expect to avoid to have too short shelf life and to avoid also the loss of quality by using new sustainable packaging. This can only be done via a multidisciplinary approach, because it's not only a problem of packaging, it's not only a problem of food quality, but also the microbiology, the flavors, and other expertise are required to optimize this solution. So it's why we came with the idea of this project. And actually, we want to complement all this expertise together in order to get the maximum out of it. And it's why we came with the name complementary. So complementary will generate solutions and tools to predict the additive and synergic effects between sustainable packaging, product quality, food ingredients, and help to select the best solutions specifically for food industry. So
I think I need to.
Yeah, this is one of the examples actually of the issue that we have with sustainable packaging. This is for cheese, for example. The current packaging that we are using is a multi-layer packaging, and thanks to this packaging, we can have long shelf life to 120 days. But at the moment that we want to work with mono-layer packaging, the shelf life dropped to maximum 45 days due to a bad gas barrier. So the gas concentration inside the packaging is getting too low, not enough carbon dioxide, and there we see the development of mold and spoilage bacteria. If we are applying some life cycle analysis, that is actually the standard method to check how sustainable is my product. And if you look only about the packaging, of course, the monolayer packaging is more sustainable. This is what you see with in a graphic with orange colors. So you see then Sample B, in this case, is the more sustainable, it's monolayer, has a lower impact on the CO2 impact than the reference, the number A. But if you take into account actually the shelf life of a product, and you also take into account how much carbon emission you are using to produce your product, in this case, the more sustainable packaging was at the end less sustainable, have a higher carbon food emission. So the idea here is, can the addition of natural ingredients, but for example, in the food matrix or directly in the packaging, so by using active packaging, help to compensate the gap of monolayer packaging design in this specific case. So for this, actually, we make this graphics. The input, actually, we want to work with different natural ingredients, sustainable packaging, and also the product characteristic. We would like to integrate this together. And of course, we will have a look, actually, what is the effect of storage and packaging solution condition during the storage period? What is the effect on product quality, on spoilage microbiome, and on flavor preservation? And of course, when everything is going well, we expect a longer shelf life and automatically less food waste. So it's quite complex because we need to integrate different expertise, and we need to integrate that in predictive models at the end in order to optimize the design. There we go more in the structure. Actually, we expect to choose 3 different groups of fresh foods. So in this case, you see different pictures, but the choice of the fresh food is still open. We may think about bread, about vegetables, about meat, about cheese. Everything is open. There, after that, we are going to look for the storage and packaging solutions, so different kind of packaging material. What is the effect of temperature? What is the effect of the natural ingredients? And of course, this has an effect also on the gas composition at the beginning of the packaging, but also during the shelf life. The quality parameter then we will follow what will be the spoilage microbiome over the complete storage period of the product, the quality parameters, and the off flavors. And this, we know then we will have some relationships, so the, per quality parameters, but also they will integrate by themselves. So there we will have, we will make different models in order to integrate that in predictive tools that we will create, and also we also will check the impact on the sustainable and on the economical part of the new design. So now if we look about the project structure, we define at this moment 6 work packages. We want to work per product category specific because, for example, fresh fruit and vegetables doesn't have the same needs than a cheese or than bread. This is the example for the product at this moment. So we want to define per work package per product, and the integration in the predictive tools and the validation, this will be covered by work package 4. And at the end, the last year, we will check what is the impact with impact analysis, what is the impact on economical and sustainability. And of course, the last work package is for project management and validation and dissemination. So per work package, per product, we want first to make a scoping. After that, data collection, correlation, and prediction. And we will have loops actually to integrate this data and to fine-tune actually our model and our research. So in this case, we already write down a few ideas. Of course, this is still open to discussion. For the scoping, we want to select the product and the hurdles that we will use. Also select which packaging condition, storage condition, and quality parameters. During the data collection, we will screen the different packaging storage condition and the effect of the natural ingredients. And we'll follow the off flavor, the texture, the enzymatic quality, decay, and the spoilage microbiome. The correlation, we will integrate everything together in the correlation analysis, and we will try to correlate each parameter to each to the inputs. And at the end, we get predictive tools to support optimal packaging product design. Of course, the last one, we will do a few loops in order to validate the data and validate the intervention. So now we are going to explain few examples. For example, about spoilage microbiome. Masha will explain that.
Yeah, I will go in a little bit more detail through the activities that Maxence just highlighted in the previous slide. So per each of the 3 work packages that are grouped around a different food category, we will do data collection, and one of this data is the identification of the spoilage microbiome. So we will, for the products in scope, we will analyze under the different packaging and storage and ingredient combinations in time how the spoilage microbiome develops in time. So what are the species involved, what is the dynamics of that, and we do that with the aim to get a better insight into what is actually happening in the product, and also because the most dominant species may not always be the one that is actually limiting your shelf life. So we need this data set to make the correlation also to the functionality loss of the product. And we do that with amplicon sequencing based methods and also use cell counting methods. So that will provide insight in both dominant but also specific spoilage species involved in the product. So we will also do that for the same storage, ingredient and packaging combinations for other quality parameters. And this is something also that we will discuss in more detail with the partners. But for example, we have a couple of technologies or expertise here in our research institute. For example, we have optical sensing technologies for non-destructive measurement of products. So we can use that, for example, to look at color changes, water content, fats, chemical changes in the product. We have a flavor analytics labs where we can measure off flavors, volatile compounds in development in the products, and also link that to different packaging conditions. We have the capability to do gas measurements in the packaging in our laboratories, so we can also link it to that. And there may be more quality parameters that we should consider, but this is just to give you some examples. So this will deliver relatively large data sets. And next step is that we have to combine all this information and link quality parameters, microbiological parameters to the product state, and also with the intention to identify the parameters that are critical to the shelf life of the product. And we will intend to use different correlation analysis methods for that. Can be more simple correlations if you can, for example, link the shelf life to a specific off-flavor development that is linked to one specific microbial species. Then you can look at that correlation, but it can also be more complex correlations where you look at multiple parameters involved in the product shelf life, and there we have more complex correlation analysis methods in-house that we can use in the project. With all this information, when we know the relevant parameters also for the product shelf life, we also want to develop predictive tools that can assist in selection of optimal conditions for certain product packaging ingredient combinations. And what type of predictive tools we will eventually use will be decided with you according also to the need of the partners in the project. And it can be simple spoilage, microbial spoilage models linked to off-flavor development, but can also be more complex multi-criterion decision analysis methods that we have in-house. I think it needs to be decided on a case-by-case basis what is the specific need. And we will make these tools in Excel based, so you can implement them in your own infrastructure eventually. And besides Maxence and myself, we have colleagues that are experts in modeling and scenario analysis that will be involved in this particular work package for that. Then eventually, we also want to have solutions that are sustainable and economically feasible. So we also foresee to do an impact analysis study for different product packaging designs, where we will integrate the packaging, natural ingredient and agro-logistics chain parameters. And we will look at feasibility of solutions. And for example, one of the tools that may be of help for this work package is the process estimator tool that was developed by colleagues of us in a European project called FOX. And this tool allows to look at environmental impact, processing cost, processing steps, shelf life, and that you provide the information of the impact before you actually make the investment. This tool was not designed for packaging, but more for processing. But there are elements that can be used from this, and we foresee to develop additional wizards for this tool so that we can make it applicable also for complementary. That is what we want to explain to you about the content of complementary. At this stage, it's still open to further shaping, also with the help of impact, with the help of partners like yourself. What are the next steps that we foresee? So we have the slides and the recording, and that will be shared with all of you, so you can look it back and discuss it internally. We will also provide all interested companies an inventory form, and this inventory form will contain questions like, what are your products of interest? What should be topics that should be addressed for you to make the project interesting? Questions like that. We will only use it for our internal use to shape and scope the project and make sure that we to make it as much as according to your research needs, the full proposal. That is the next step that we foresee. And then we still have time for questions and other remarks that may pop up. So if you have any question, please raise your hand or put your remark in the chat, and we are very happy to discuss further with you.
Now we have two questions. So one is from David Johnson. Would it possible to consider also packaged foods that have longer shelf life? So they have some customer in the sauce category and snack category that are moving towards more sustainable packaging and have concern about shelf life. So actually, like we explained, we define actually 3 work package with 3 different group of the product. but the choice of the project himself is not yet defined. So if the consortium decide to go more for source or for projects with a longer shelf life, is fine for us, but we need to define from the beginning. The second question is from Martin van Hoort. Will you be looking at sustainable packaging only, or also sustainable and functional packaging? When we made
Maybe
this, sorry?
If I may interrupt, maybe just to explain where the question comes from.
Yeah.
Bread is spoiling quite fast everywhere on the world. All bread that is baked will start spoiling after 5 to 6 days, regardless of the packaging. Whether it's packed or not packed, it will always start spoiling after 5 or 6 days. And the only way to increase the shelf life is by using ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless you have packaging that has a certain function, and the function is to increase the shelf life. There is already quite some literature about that, functional packaging. And my question is therefore, is that also in scope in this project? Or is it only sustainability?
I think it could be in scope of the project, but we will not develop this type of packaging. I think if we want to include that, it is in principle possible, but we should find a partner in the consortium that can either supply this type of packaging or can develop it. It's not in scope that we develop that in the project, but if it is an element that we can bring into the project.
Yeah. Initially, we didn't think about using active packaging with slow release, because I'm not convinced that this kind of packaging are sustainable, because I don't think you can recycle it. But in other way, you are increasing the shelf life and you reduce the food waste. We are also reaching the goal of reducing food waste and making everything's more sustainable. So we need to think about that. If we heard from the consortium that there are really an interest and everyone wants to go there, it's also fine for us. We are still on the moment, at this moment, we are still free to change a little bit the scope of this project.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Miriam asks, do we use full data capability if Excel is used for modeling?
Miriam, could you perhaps explain what you...
I was just, you mentioned, hey, we're using Excel, and I thought, hey, the data at this moment, data capability, everything about modeling is going so fast. Is that the latest state-of-the-art way to do predictive modeling, or could we even having the model itself more at the heart almost, or part of the project?
Still a lot of the modeling is using Excel or comparable things. It's about what we mean to say here, that we will not provide it with an online interface. For example, we have other projects where we do that, and we see it takes a lot of time, and also maintenance questions when you stop the project, who keep that in the air and make sure that you keep it up to date. That could make it more complex. So that's actually the reason why we said, and we have the experiment with some of the partners, that they say, okay, but then the Excel tool and the databases, which is also quite important part of the model, to have the data in databases. For us, it's useful to have this and be implemented ourselves. If I don't know, do you refer also to an interface? Do I understand that correctly, that you want to have an online interface?
No, it was more a lot of is going on AI, and perhaps
Oh,
that's
okay.
not
Yeah.
purely relative, but
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
if it's only Excel, it was more like a lot is going with predictive modeling, and there are a lot of steps are being made. So it is do we use the full potential of the knowledge there to make bigger steps also in the predictive model itself, not only in the way we also use it already for years and years.
Yeah.
So for the modeling myself, we are going to use the full potential, and we are not going to do only linear regression analysis. But the question is actually how to integrate that in a tools. We don't want to make a tools too complicated and too nice, because actually it's on the cost of the budget. We first need to.
But I think I can address also when you talk, for example, about AI. I think it can be very useful in the correlation phase of the project, where you have the data sets and you want to see hidden patterns in there. And I think there it could be functional. And yeah, it's something we can consider because we have colleagues also in that area of expertise. But I think it comes in place more into the correlation analysis, where we have the large data sets and want to see parameters that or hidden patterns in this data sets that are not
Exactly,
so
that's what
obvious.
that is exactly what I mean, and use also the data scientists available. So in that
course.
sense,
Yeah.
that was exactly what I meant. And making the data available in the end, for me the interface is not the most important. It's more indeed the data that you can do that you can also do the analysis in future yourself is even more important.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is expertise that we have in-house and we could bring into the project. Yeah.
Okay, the next question was from Alexandre. Will you study only monomaterial plastic packaging or also fiber-based like paper, cardboard with coating material? Now, this will depend actually of the group of products, of course, and we are going to investigate. If you need, for example, a really strict modified atmosphere packaging with high carbon dioxide concentration, I don't know if fiber-based packaging material at this moment are so good and you can keep the gas concentration at the optimal level inside the package. So this will depend actually per group food categories. I hope I answer your question, Alexandre. The next question is from Michael. Will you also perform sensory consumer analysis to validate instrumental measurement on quality? This was not our plan to do that because we know that when we are doing sensory of consumer analysis, the budget has to be a double or a triple. So this is the issues that we have. So we expect then by using the more objective way of measuring off flavor, like using GCs or flavor spec, there we can already have a good indication about what is the effect on off flavor development if we have off flavor developments.
Okay, thanks.
But there is maybe it's not foreseen as an activity that we do in the project, but we could consider maybe a specific partners have an own sensory panel or so that could be part of the in-kind contribution of the project. That is something that we can still consider to do if it is considered essential to include.
Yeah, that's very nice to hear, because that's what we have done. It's building predictive model from of the sensory quality based on the instrumental measurements, because indeed, as you mentioned, Maxence, performing sensory and consumer analysis is very expensive in both times and budget. So yeah, maybe we could discuss this further.
Yeah, it could be a very nice element to see if you see in all the data sets that you have, if you can also associate it with scoring of a sensory panel, But the sensory panel analysis is not something foreseen in the project because it will be, we would have to have such a high budget for that we think it's not realistic. But as it's an in-house capability of partners in the project, we can consider to link that in.
Okay, thank you.
One question of Jeroen. Have you as a team considered the inclusion and analysis of pathogenic bacteria? For you?
Yeah, I think it's also part of your shelf life, right? So if you talk, for example, about ready-to-eat products, you have to, for example, deal with listeria and that may limit your shelf life. So it's an option. Depends, I think, a little bit on the type of products that we are dealing with, and that's why we also have this scoping session to define what are parameters we should consider, but also I think it depends whether we should include pathogens in that, because they are of course also relevant to control. So it's it can also be part of this project. Yes.
If I may ask a bit unmute, but can it be done at a practical level, so to say, that the laboratory is able of doing it, and of course your experimenting will be maybe slightly different, but feasible?
Yeah,
no?
we have laboratories that to perform microbiological work up to biosafety level 2. So that is with the common food pathogens. If you talk about Salmonella, Listeria, Bacillus cereus, we are able to handle them. We can do that.
Thanks.
Okay, this was actually the last question on the chat. So, do we have more questions?
Yeah, maybe a bit more general question. I think there is also a states keeping process for the top sector approval. What would be key criteria there for approval of the projects within the framework and in comparison to other projects that might be granted? Do you have any view on that?
You mean in the evaluation process, or to align with the missions of the TKI program? Because we should make sure that we align with the missions of the TKI programming. Sustainability is in there, and I think this links perfectly to sustainability goals. So I think this topic fits well with the program of TKI. In terms of evaluation, there are different criteria for scoring. It should be impact is an important aspect, but also if your consortium is balanced. I think if you collaborate, for example, with a hogeschool, it also will add to the scoring process of the project.
But maybe Dennis can answer better this question if you contact him directly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks for that. Thank you. Cool.
Yeah, that's a nice bridge also too. So we very much welcome you on board. We will share the presentation with you, and we will share the recording also with you. And for any further information about the process, please feel free to contact Dennis Schooman. His contact details are here on the slide. And if you have additional questions, we are very welcome to discuss this further with you.
We also are going to send actually a form.
Inventory form.
If you are interested with the project, please fill in the form. And with this form, we will ask you more information, for example, which kind of project you wish to work in, and what is the goal actually, what do you expect from this project. So please take time to fill in the form. It will help us actually to to build up a really strong consortium and also make a nice project actually.
Yeah, and make it relevant for you.
Scope. Yeah.
More relevant for you. So if there are no further questions, then I think we are very well in time within the hour. We want to thank you very much for your listening and for your nice questions and your contribution to this. So thank you all. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
bye bye.
Much.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.